Well, welcome back. Got a 2001 Ford Focus, 270,000 miles on it. A little bit shaky in the front end, so I looked at it, and I'll show you that. Obviously, I'll take a quick look, but I'll show you what I found. The suspension on this is original struts, tie rod ends, control arm, ball joint. None of it's been changed. 270,000 miles on it. So I'm going to end up replacing inner and outer tie rod ends on this car, both struts, and one of the end links for the sway bar. One end link's already been done. When I initially checked it, I did not find any problem with the ball joint, control arms. Look fine, feel fine. But I'm going to split this into 3 or 4 different videos. Struts, the end link, which will be real quick, inner and outer tie rod end. I'll probably do that as one, maybe split into 2, but I'll show you what I found, and we'll end up replacing most of the suspension in the front end of this car. Okay, so obviously I have the wheel off of here, so I'll get the wheel out of the way, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to do these struts first, and have a bolt here. I believe that's 15 millimeter. I'll check that in a minute. We have the end link to the sway bar. We're going to disconnect this. So this is just pushed into this bracket, so we're going to disconnect this. Put this camera down, I'll do it. We're going to undo this pinch bolt at the bottom. We're going to, well, actually, we'll undo this end link first. Make sure we can get that undone. Then we'll undo this pinch bolt, which holds the strut. Then we're going to have to come up top. There's 3 bolts, and I'll show you that as well. I think they're 13 millimeter. And we're going to undo them, pull that strut out, and put a new one in. Well, as I mentioned before, you can't see this, but this is just the brake line, flexible brake line. We're just going to, there's a clip on the side of the strut. We're just going to unclip that, get it out of the way. Now I can get to that pinch bolt at the bottom, which is just a 15 millimeter. I think I'm going to try with my smaller gun first. And we'll see if we can get it with that. Break it loose, and actually I'm not going to, I said that before and I still was almost going to do it. I'm going to undo the end link first. I got to do the right way though. See if it's just spinning on me or not, I can't tell. Yeah, I think it's just spinning. So this will happen, and you get to reach in behind here. I believe this has some flats on it. Probably can get a wrench or a pair of vice grips on it. Yeah, it's got flats. Let me get a wrench and get in there. Hold it so it doesn't spin. See what size this is. I don't know what size this is, but I guess right on the first one looks like 18 millimeter. So that's just, there's a flat back here. I'll show you once I get it out. I'll just hold the flat. Should be able to zip this. Okay. This end link's been replaced already. It's greasable. Big fan of greasable. I say that in almost every video when I'm doing suspension about replacing stuff. And see if I can get this out of here. Come on. All right, so you see this flat. There's a hex on the back of that. Looks like this one's 18 millimeter. We'll just stick that out of the way, so that's disconnected. Now I come down to this pinch bolt on this side. See if we can get that out with this gun. 15 millimeter again. That gun ain't cutting it, so let's see if we can get a bigger gun in there. I don't know if I can fit it in there or not, maybe. If not, just have to go old school. Actually break it loose with a ratchet. Oh yeah, it'll get in there. This probably. Let me make sure I'm in reverse here. Do not want to tighten it. I think that's a little tight. So let me get a breaker bar on that. See if we can break that loose. And I should probably spray that down too. As usual, we'll spray it with some penetrating oil here and give it all of 20 seconds. Should give it, you know, a lot longer than that, but hardly ever time to do that. Just come in with a breaker bar. I know you can't really see this from the angle of the camera. It's just a pinch bolt at the bottom of this strut on the steering knuckle here. Okay. I think that's a little tight. So we'll just work this back and forth using a tight like this. Got some corrosion in them. And I want to break it. Just kind of feeling, making sure it's not binding up. And the last thing you want to do is snap it off. This actually feels pretty good now. Go back to the small gun. Now that's initially broken loose, we should be able to get that off of there. Let's see. Working it back and forth here. Back to the big gun. There we go. So that's it. Should be able to separate this now. I'm just going to leave that for now. Actually, I have a jack stand underneath it. It's not tight up against it. I don't know if this is going to want to drop a lot when I break this strut loose. So it's just, you know, an inch or two down from where it's sitting right now under the control arm. So if it does break loose, it won't fall all the way down. I don't have to worry about it doing any damage to the CV joint. I'm going to come in here just, I think, yeah, it's loose. So it's moving. So I just want to make sure it was going to move. I'm going to go up top now and move you. We're going to do the top bolts here. So we have to take these 3 bolts out the top of the strut mount. I purposely didn't break that strut completely loose because I want it to stay in place when I undo these. These are 13 millimeter, I believe. Yep. I'm blocking all the light up now. In reverse, not forward. See, that just dropped down a little bit as I was doing that, but didn't go too far. Okay. Made the floor. Well, it should be new bolts with the new strut anyway, but if they're not, did make the floor, so. That's it. Hopefully you saw that because I didn't even look to see what you're seeing. Alright, so we're back down here. I've just got to break this loose now. Push that down. That's where they have the stand in there. I don't know if I have enough. I may have to move that, but we're just going to break this loose. Well, maybe I should have broken it all the way loose before I loosened the top. It's giving me a hard time. Let me put one of the bolts back in the top here. And, so it'll stay put, not drop down on me. There it goes. There it goes, good. Now I can actually turn it. Push this down to separate it, hope. Come on. Give me a hard time. I'm just being mindful of that CV axle. I don't want to go too far. But there you go. Loose. Just turn it a little bit, turn the knuckle a little bit. I should be able to rotate this out of there now. Just wiggle it back and forth. There you go. I got one bolt holding it. I'll just take that top bolt out and drop this out of the way. Just being mindful of the different things. I made the floor too. Night to drop the bolts. There it is. I just take that out, trash, and get the new one.
So I want to come in here, make sure this is clean. It looks not too bad. I'm going to come in here and just wipe it out. Take a piece of sandpaper, going around, clean it out real good. It'll make the strut actually go in there easier. So I've got the new strut here. I can't see if you're seeing this. Got the new strut. So on the back of this strut, there's this tab right here, right there. And you see that's where the bolt, the pinch bolt that's on the back of this knuckle, this tab has to go in that slot. And then when you stick the pinch bolt in there, that's what sets your depth. It has to go through there to set the correct depth. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to line that up with the split in the back of the steering knuckle. And we're going to put that in there and then put our pinch bolt in and sort of hold it in place. I gotta go up first, so let's put the top in first. Let me see if I can get one up the top here started on this mount. Hold it in place for me. Get it lined up. I know you can't see this. Not much to see. Just gotta line the bolts up and put them in. There we go. So I just stick one of the bolts on here again like I did when I was taking it off. Hold it in place. Actually, I get two of them on here. So it can't drop on me. So now I don't have to hold it. So, like I said, this tab in the back has to line up with this split right here. Hopefully you can see this. I can't even see if you're seeing this. I think you can. Right there in that knuckle. We're going to put that in there. That's the plan at least. Tip it this way. Just enough room to do this. I'm going to kind of fight with it a little bit. To get this on the right side here. I'm going to go to the front here and try it that way. There we go. So now I have to get that started in there. Line it up. I'm going to get it lined up with this. There we go. I'll show you that close up of that so you can see it. Let me see if I can show that to you. I can show it to you from this side. Looking right back in here, the back of the strut, this tab, right here. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, right there. That's got to go in that slot on the back of the steering knuckle. And that's got to slide down until it can line that bolt up with that hole. Slide the bolt in and start it. Alright, I just got to wiggle it in place. Just got a long punch. If I can get it in there, help me line it up. And get it centered. Get it centered up so I get the bolt in. There we go. I'm just going to run that in. Not going to tighten it all the way down. I have to look the specs up for torque specs for this, but I'm just going to run it in. Hold it in place. I want it to be able to move a little bit, so I make sure the top's lined up correctly for me. Okay. Gotta hold it in place. Go back up top here, and we'll put the top mounting bolts in. Alright, got this lined up here. Just gonna run them in. Wrong side. Helps if I get the right size. Back down now. Now we can tighten up that pinch bolt. Alright, so we're back down underneath. Now I'm going to just tighten this up. I just snug it real quick. I'm going to run it down and torque it down. Wrong size again. I keep forgetting to change. I gotta change my sockets there. There we go. So obviously this is pretty tight coming off. Part of that was corrosion, but these need to be, somewhat tight. So I'm gonna put a little more pressure on this and torque it down. Go nuts. I'll go check this and see what my actual torque spec is on that before I actually put the wheel back on to make sure I'm right. So now put my brake line back in its bracket here. Get it in place. Here we go. It's good. End link. Put that back in place. And then start it here. My 18mm wrench. Hold the hex on it and run it back in. I'll stay out of your way here. No way to get a hold of this without getting in the way too much. Probably right in the way with a gun, but. Good. While I'm in here, I will grease these because these are both greasable. I will grease them before we put everything back together. I'll go check that and get the torque spec for that bolt, make sure it's right, and that's it. 15 minutes, half an hour. So I almost forgot. I told you I'd get you the part number. It's ST8555L. It's a Moog. This is a Moog strut. I like Moog stuff. I've had very little problem with it. Obviously, the right's going to be ST8555R.
Well, there you go. Struts on this 2001 Ford Focus. I showed you the one. The other side's obviously just the same. Really, if you're buying a complete unit with the coil spring already mounted, which is what I recommend you do, I'm figuring most of you don't have a Brannick strut compressor that you can buy, the little strut compressors, but you got to be really careful. They're dangerous. I don't like using them, and I would rather just buy the whole unit. And honestly, the time you save by just being able to put that whole unit in there rather than having to compress the spring, take the strut out, put a new strut in, make sure it's lined up where you compress it, put it all back together. You can literally do, one side of these, one strut, 15, 20 minutes. That's really all it takes to do this. It's really pretty simple. If you have to do this, I hope it helps you out. If you like the video, subscribe below. Thanks for watching.